The zoning process for TMP informally actually started in 2006 when we actually went to do a year-long community survey where we collected local knowledge of our resources, our habitats here in Tun Mustapha Park.
So the key steps in developing a zoning plan, in my opinion, are first of all to set the objective, to work out what you're actually trying to achieve, what your management and conservation objectives are.
Objectives for the proposed Tun Mustapha Park, which are the sustainable development and protection or conservation of biodiversity, and also the alleviation of poverty for the community within this area. So we advocate for 30% inclusion of critical or key habitat into a protected area. Here you can see there are 4 type of zones that have been used or proposed for Tun Mustapha Park. The pink one here is the commercial fishing zone. The blue one is the multiple use zone. The brown one is the community zone, and the green one is the no-take area or protected area.
So zoning plans in other parts of the world, such as, for instance, in the Great Barrier Reef, has the plan there has 7 zones or 8. So it's quite a complicated setup with different types of uses permitted in different zones. Here in Tun Mustapha Park, the current draft zoning has 4 zones, so it's not as complicated.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, okay.
Well, actually, I'm quite happy with a few sites that we have visited that was actually proposed as a no-take area. For example, this site. We expected this area to be quite murky and sedimentation would be quite high because it's close to the coastal area, which is lined with mangrove area. This is actually generated using the software MARXAN.
In Malaysia, the Sabah state is the first one to use the MARXAN software. So this software already used since 2001, that used by the Great Barrier Reef.
MARXAN is being used in over 100 countries around the world, and is well established in many countries, even around Asia. It has been used to develop zoning plans or just conservation plans.
MARXAN was decided as a decision support tool to help in determining areas that will be included in different type of zones for Tun Mustapha Park.
I think it's very complex for people to understand what is no-take and what is fishing ground that is allowed to be used. If I mean the distinction between the brown and the green.
Yeah, this is just a guide indicating what are the options available for the stakeholders. This is to be used to bring to the community to be discussed further.
Actually, we have 4 scenarios, we thought that this is the best one, which is the 30% of every habitat species feature in TZ. We have still in find out from this like after this expedition is finished, then we will put together everything's the data, and then we will redo again the geodatabase.
The other scenarios is more on trying to see whether we can lower, if we lower the percentage of key habitats to be in the no-take area and increase probably the
70%.
increase the area that will be in the community area or multiple use area, what would be the impact, what would be the difference? We feel that local knowledge is as important as empirical scientific information. So far, the main concerns of the island communities, who are mostly fishermen, is the loss of their fishing ground. We have actually tried to explain that there are some areas that need to be zoned as a no-take area for the benefit, for the long-term benefit of the fishermen themselves, because at the moment we have seen a decline in fisheries resources. Fishermen that is even registered in Sandakan can still come in and fish in this area. For example, like you have seen trawlers, shrimp trawlers that was parked around Tigabu, and some of we saw parked around this area. This commercial fishing area is actually also following the 3 nautical miles requirement by the fisheries department.
So do you think when the park's established that there will be money to supply, I don't know, what you need, surveillance boats?
All the fishermen, are they based in the same area? So if you want to communicate to them about this zonation pattern, how will this message be brought to them?
That'll be tricky to get everyone to know about it and then do it.
Definitely it will not come easy in the beginning. You need to look into that as part of the management plan.
Have a registration number so that you can see where they are from?
Yes. So it can be monitored based on their registration.
You can already start
number.
doing that now to see where they are from.
There were suggestions that the fishing vessel that is operating within this area is limited to those who is actually only operating here, but that need to be further discussed and decided upon.
You can have a really good conservation plan based on biodiversity, but if you're implementing it and people don't adhere to the rules and they don't actually work with a plan because it didn't consider their needs, then it's useless and it's not going to actually achieve any biodiversity goals.
The commercial fishers definitely see the benefits of having the proposed Tun Mustapha Park gazetted and managed properly. They have seen decline in their resources, and some of the commercial fishers do agree that there is a need for stronger enforcement within the area.
If you want to conserve biodiversity in an optimal way, you have to maintain as many different environments as possible in the area that you want to manage. The optimum way is ideally to include a coastal area ranging all the way offshore to oceanic conditions. I think you can use specific species as an indicator, as bioindicator. So some species of corals indicate areas that are relatively rich in species, and other corals are very much indicated to areas that are poor in species. So species per se are not necessarily important, except for the very rare species, of course.
In the green zone, no one is allowed to take anything out, so that's the highest level of protection. But here there will still be some local fishing, which might affect the corals, but most of the fish. You see what I mean?
You cannot maintain them everywhere, so that's what the whole idea about zonation is, and the category of no-take versus commercially exploited. Yeah, you have to sacrifice whatever is there. But if people are fishing in this area, it doesn't mean that all corals are being damaged.
For me, I think the most important thing is the coral reefs, because this without this coral reefs, it's the fish is not there, and then I think the community will not go for fishing or whatever for their livelihoods.
So altogether, if you want to have as much coral reef biodiversity as possible, you should have a zoning that includes both nearshore habitats as well as offshore, more oceanic habitats. I think more important also for this area is now how to apply that to the damage that's already being done by blast fishing. This day we visited some reefs that are relatively remote, and which are shoals, and we found heavy damage on top of those shoals and also on the slopes. I wonder, and we still hear the blast fishing going on, how can that be prevented?
Our approach at the moment is more on the awareness level, trying to increase the awareness so they themselves realize that they need to stop this and take corrective action. And the second approach is to try to get them involved in the management of the area. For example, that we have this community zone. We hope that this will allow them to actually have ownership.
So different parts of the world obviously have different cultures, and the approach of how you would go about getting the zoning plan established or also developed would differ. The things I think that are the same are you have to still set the objectives.
If in a conservation plan I would need to select an area to put all efforts, I would say I would go for the area that has maximum species diversity. Another important aspect is this area is also on the Coral Triangle map as a boundary area for the whole area. So whatever we are doing here also contributes to the Coral Triangle initiative, of course.
Trying to also balance between socioeconomics benefits and also biodiversity protection, then this is what we are presenting now at the moment, 30%. And if people are saying that 30% is too high, then we will present what it would look like at lower than 30%, how it look like. And if some people say that it's not enough, then we can show the other scenario. How would it look like?
But our stakeholder, it's so far they are very they are lack of this kind of idea.
Personally, I would like to everyone to be able to maintain what they have, to continue doing what they want to do. All their interests taken into consideration, including biodiversity, fisheries, and protection of habitat. So I think there should be a balance, and all this should be integrated into one management framework.